Ladies and gentlemen, with the end of December and the start of a new year, Bitcoin has seen another monthly candle close. And this monthly candle close is actually quite unappealing. It's quite a bearish candlestick formation that's formed here. It's called a shooting star candlestick formation, and it generally represents the top of large moves. So people are doing analysis here and they're saying, because of this monthly candle, we're going to flip downwards into a downwards trend on Bitcoin and everything will crash and burn. Now, that is a ridiculously simplistic viewpoint, and I'm going to tell you exactly why today. I'm then going to follow up and show you 3 things that the average person is either not seeing or ignoring right now that actually show that Bitcoin is in an incredible position of strength at the moment. I'm going to show you this support line stemming back from the peaks in 2021, which Bitcoin is currently holding. I'm going to show you a fractal from around this time last year, around January 2024, which my good friend Mega Whale Crypto has mentioned a few times in his recent videos. And I'm going to show you some cyclical analysis from 2021, extrapolating that data forward, showing you that the bottom is either in or incredibly close. But before we get into any of that today, check out the exchanges. We've got the Bitcoin exchange and the BitGet exchange here. Bitcoin is global, non-KYC. You can sign up from anywhere in the world. And BitGet is global minus the USA. So if you're American, you cannot use BitGet. But if you're not American, very good exchange, very well known. Both these exchanges are well known. Both these exchanges have very good track records, have reserves information available, and are very, very low in trading fees, which is one of the most important things. And by the way, with my referral link down below, if you choose to sign up with my link, which I highly recommend you do, you will get an additional 15% trading fee discount on every single buy and sell you make for life on either of these exchanges. So go ahead and use those links down below. It helps me out a lot as a creator, and it helps you by getting on a good exchange with low fees. Now let's get into the content, starting with this monthly candle close. It's literally what I said in the introduction, guys. We've seen a monthly candle close. It is a bearish shooting star candlestick formation. You can see them right here on Google. Here's a good example. So you have this aggressive upwards trend. You have that candle with a red body and a large wick to the upside. Exact same thing formed here. Aggressive upwards trend with a red body and a large wick to the upside, representing a trend reversal. I'm not concerned at this in the slightest at all. Okay, and I'll tell you exactly why. Yes, it's a bearish shooting star candlestick formation, but do you know what else was a bearish candlestick formation? You may remember this. I don't know if you do, maybe you don't, but a lot of people talked about the 2-month bearish doji candle that showed up on the Bitcoin chart. In fact, I think it was a shooting star, the 2-month shooting star candlestick formation that showed up on the Bitcoin at 2-month chart back here in March. Literally everyone, their dog, their brother, their sister, their cousin was screaming at me to discuss this candle when it came out. I discussed it. I said it was stupid. I said it was ridiculous. I said we need to focus on the cyclical structure. I said we at least need some sort of downside break confirmation to confirm it. We can't be jumping out of the market because of a candle close. And lo and behold, everyone was completely wrong. We went upwards and I was correct, right? It didn't mean anything, right? The point is you cannot make actual judgments. You cannot sit here and claim to be doing actual analysis based on what a candle looks like. Candles are nuanced. What happens within a month is nuanced. It's more important, right? Analysis is bigger and broader than just a simple candle close. You can go to any time frame you want on the charts and find a candle that is good, that is bad, that is neutral on any time frame ever in any given period of time. It doesn't mean it means anything, okay? Candle closes, candlestick formations are supporting evidence at best. And all you need to do is just look at any example of candle closes not working or candlestick formations not doing anything. For example, we look at the 2-month chart on Bitcoin. We see right here a bearish engulfing candle on the 2-month chart. We didn't enter a downwards trend. In fact, we continued upwards right after it. We see a bullish doji formation representing the bottom and reversal. No, we didn't end up bottoming there. We continued downwards, right? We see another bearish engulfing right here. We didn't go into a downwards trend. We skyrocketed upwards. We see this bearish doji that everyone was talking about. We didn't go into a downwards trend. We continued upwards. You can do the same thing on the monthly chart. These candles don't mean anything alone. Now, if this candle is supported via a structural breakdown, we break down below 74K, then we can start taking it seriously. But at that point, we're not really focusing on a candle, we're focusing on the structural breakdown. So the point is, it's really, really minor stuff here. So here's my proposal to you, here's my proposition. Instead of focusing on ridiculously small events that just exacerbate confirmation bias and make you fearful, how about we focus on the bigger picture? How about we focus on the 3 things I'm going to show you right now? For one, and actually let's start with something even bigger than that. How about we focus on the bloody 4-year cycle, right? The entire basis of Bitcoin's foundational macro trends that has predicted every single top and bottom and every single structural move since the beginning of Bitcoin's existence in the first halving in 2012. Okay, how about we focus on that? That thing that predicts we continue going upwards here rather than a 1-month doji candle. Like, let's get our head out of the sand here and start focusing on what actually matters. But I'll show you 3 more things. And you may not have seen these things. In fact, I would wager that at least 2 of them you haven't. Number 1, we know that 2021 was a bit of a weird cycle. It was still perfectly within the realms of what can happen within the 4-year cycle because we still topped out at the right time. And the 4-year cycle, of course, is a date range trend. But we know structurally it was a little bit weird. We saw something akin to what a lot of people call a double top. I take issue with that, but regardless of what it was, we have this first peak here in April, and we have this second peak here in November. And if we draw a diagonal line across those peaks, what we see is that right now, Bitcoin is holding that diagonal line, right? So these 2021 peaks, which formed a resistance zone, we have flipped that resistance zone. We're holding it for support. We've been doing so for the last almost 2 months at this point. What happens when you hold a support like this, guys? You flip back to the upside and bounce off of it and continue to the upside. I mean, as long as that support is holding, we're golden here. This is excellent. Now, obviously, if it breaks, we can bring up a different scenario. We can start perhaps leaning a bit more bearish. But right now, this is holding, and it's holding quite perfectly, which is much more than just a coincidence, I can assure you. So that's very good stuff. That's number 1. Number 2, and I recommend you check out Mega Whale Crypto for this one, but I'll just briefly mention it, is a fractal stemming backwards here from October through to around January 2024. Let's just take the fractal and let's just extrapolate it across just so you can see the similarities here. I mean, they're really insane. So we'll go ahead and take a bar pattern from around here in November through to the bottom right there, and we'll take that structure and we'll just drag it right across to what we're seeing right now. I'm just showing you in live action just so you can see the intense similarities here. We'll make this a bit brighter and we'll structure it up a bit more. And you can just see off the bat the amazing similarities between these 2 structures. This one in yellow here was from last year this time, and this one is what we're seeing right now. Now, obviously, what is charting? Well, charting is just human emotion displayed on a chart, and human emotion, of course, repeats over time. This is why history repeats. This is why trends repeat whenever humans are involved. And what right now we have a very clear example of a trend, right? A pattern that has occurred, a structure of human emotion that occurred last year, and very clearly, beyond the point of being a coincidence, this is exactly pretty much to the T occurring again. We have the same number of peaks, we have the same structure with one minor high, one higher high, one low, and then of course what happened at the end of that structure in last year? Well, we continued after a drop, a bit of a dump, we continued and swung back to the upside and continued that aggressive move parabolically. If that trend is actually happening, if it's more than just a coincidence, which I believe it is, of course, more than just a coincidence, then we would perhaps drop down one more time, perhaps, swing for these lows here somewhere, and then sweep back to the upside like we did last year. I mean, that's incredibly good fractal. And if you want a more in-depth analysis of that, go check out Mega Whale Crypto. He did a more in-depth analysis with indicators and stuff. I won't steal his thunder, but you can go ahead and get the gist of it from here. And the third thing I'll mention to show you that Bitcoin is actually in a very strong position right now, which is quite opposed to what the average person will tell you when they look at something like the monthly candle, is what we discussed in yesterday's video very extensively, but I'll just explain it very quickly here. We know that Bitcoin acts cyclically, and given that Bitcoin acts cyclically, we can compare cycle to cycle. And we know that, for example, right now, we are pretty much copying what we did in 2021, okay? And why do I say that? Well, there's a few reasons. First of all, we had 1,100 days between the 2017 peak and the breakout above that peak point. Okay, we've got the same amount of days this time, 1,100 days. So that's similarity number 1. Similarity number 2, we have a parabolic surge after the breakout point from 2017 all-time high, right? We have that same parabolic surge after the breakout point from 2021. That's similarity number 2. Similarity number 3 is that upon that parabolic surge, upon that breakout point from the prior all-time high, we saw Bitcoin dominance drop off and we saw the beginning of altcoin season. We've seen that again this time, so that's the third similarity. And the fourth similarity is that, structurally speaking, they're happening at the exact same part of the cycle, but even more in depth than that. You can see the peak here in January 2021, and you can see the peak here, guess what, in December 2024. They're happening around the same time as the year as well. So there's so many cyclical patterns repeating here. Basically, we are at the same point in time here than where we were here in 2021. And we can go a little bit more in depth than that. We can actually get a relative measured move to kind of try and dissect how far Bitcoin should go downwards on this correction and how close it is to the bottom. What we can do and how we can do that is take a measured move from the breakout point here in 2021, see that we moved upwards about 109%. We then corrected downwards around 31%. So 109% move to the upside and a 31% move to the downside. 31 is 28% of 109. So we moved upwards 109%, and then we corrected 28% of that move back to the downside in 2021. This time, we have so far moved upwards around 58. And if we were to correct downwards 28% of that move to the downside, we would be correcting downwards around 16%. Now, I could get that number exact or slightly different yesterday just based on different measurements. But the point is, given there are similarities between these two moves, if we take a percentage sample and adjust it for diminishing returns, okay, what we can see is that we should be correcting around 16% on this move. Guess what, guys? How far have we corrected on this move? We've corrected around 16%. So basically, if we are continuing to follow the fractal from 2021, if we are continuing to follow the structure from 2021, which we have all the evidence to believe we are doing so at this point in time, the correction should be around 28% of the move upwards. The move upwards was 58%, and hence the correction should be about 16%, which we've already pretty much more or less seen. Now, obviously, we can deviate from that structure. Obviously, we can correct a little bit more downwards than what the formula suggests or what the prediction suggests, but the point is, right now, we are pretty much matching 2021 quite well, and if we are doing that, it suggests the bottom should be in very, very shortly here, and hence Bitcoin is in a position of power. So the overarching point of this video is to not dwell on things that seem major, but actually very minor, right? These things that they'll say, oh, you know, bearish candle on the monthly chart. They'll put in the title, put in the thumbnail, put a couple words in there to scare you. They'll speak about it as if it's the end of the world. We've seen it before. It doesn't mean anything. It literally means nothing until there's confirmation. If we actually break down, then we can start talking about it as something serious. Until then, it's just a little hiccup, a little bump in the overall smooth pattern, okay? So guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. I really appreciate it if you do that, especially commenting. Helps me out in the algorithm quite a bunch. And obviously, check out the exchanges here. This helps me out a lot as well. I reached out to these exchanges for partnership. They did not reach out to me. They didn't pay me anything. I don't get paid by this. The only thing I get is a referral link, okay? And with that referral link, if you sign up with that link, when you trade, I get a portion of the fees, right? And I get a portion of the fees that are discounted from your trading fees with my referral link. So you get a 15% trading fee discount. I get a cut of the discounted fees. You lose nothing. In fact, you're saving money and I get money for it. That's how we get paid. That's how it works. I've chosen these exchanges for a reason. It's got nothing to do with how much they give me in affiliates or anything. I use both of these exchanges personally. Bit2Nix is global non-KYC. BitGet is global minus the USA. Take your pick. The links are down below. And the last thing I'll mention is the VIP group on Telegram, guys. If you want to check out VIP, I post VIP trading signals, altcoin trading signals 4 times a week. Fully transparent. I've got my track record there. I don't hide my results. I'm very proud of them. So you can check them out as well. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you soon.